Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com. This is Texas Podcast Massacre.
Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Mitch, and with me, as always, is Sister Lisa.
That felt like an emergency.
And the very Reverend Father Nate, who was off on assignment.
Yeah, I was at the Vatican, and I'm at the Vatican, so of course there are secrets.
Of course. So where in the Vatican are you right now, if you had to guess?
I'm in the basement of the Vatican. I'm actually literally in a basement, Mitch, so it's your worst nightmare. But yeah, from the Vatican basement.
Yeah, nothing good happens in a basement ever. We've established this.
Except maybe Pee-wee's bike, now that I think about it.
It wasn't in the basement, though. She lied. You know, that's how you know maybe the Alamo would have done better had they had a basement.
True.
I doubt it, though. Well, welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, where each week we review a different horror movie. We discuss a horror-related topic, and we talk about what's new with our unsuspecting victim, who is usually someone we would not call a horror fan. This week, we are packing up the horse-drawn carriage to go to a nice little quaint convent in Romania with our resident Frenchie, Tom. Tom, welcome back.
Bonjour.
Yeah, so let's see. You've been in space with us multiple times.
Two times in space.
You are basically, you're practically our astrophysics expert, I guess. And so, but now we're going back in time a little bit. We're going to bring you in for some religious studies.
My favorite.
Now, Tom, Nate, I think has mentioned that, and we talked before, you don't go see horror movies in theater. So with The Nun being the movie we're talking about today, this is what number of horror movie you've seen in theaters?
In the total of my lifetime, this is the third horror movie in theaters.
Oh my God.
Everyone because of Nate.
Not surprised.
He goes to see a horror movie with me once every 8 years in the theater.
What are the other two?
The first was the cinematic classic Cabin Fever.
Oh my gosh!
Wow,
that is the appropriate reaction.
That was the first. Jesus.
Yeah. And the second was The Crazies
remake. Yeah.
Okay, I remember The Crazies. I remember seeing that in theater. Nate, did you actually see those movies before you dragged Tom to these? Like, I guess the question is, how horrible of a person are you? Did you knowingly bring him into these, or were you experiencing them as well for the first time?
Yeah, so in terms of bad movies, I'm a pretty bad person for like making people watch bad movies. I'm not a go to Cabin Fever in the movie theater 2 times bad of a person. Okay. So it was also my first time there. And to be fair,
I just didn't know how dedicated you are to the cause. That was really what I'm trying to get to with that one.
That's all I'm going to say. Although I have made Tom watch Cabin Fever 2, so I'm a pretty terrible person generally. So.
Well, at least that one didn't even make it to theaters, did it?
No.
Well, Tom, know that you are not alone in the large, I guess, support survivor group of people who have had to withstand Nate's movie recommendations. So you're not alone. That's about all I can tell you. So this
never get over it. You just keep going to meetings for the rest of your life. It gets a little bit better, but you're always an alcoholic. It's always happened to you.
My name is Tom, and I've been victimized by Nate.
It's been 8 years since my last Cabin Fever viewing.
Oh, goodness. Well, all right. Well, this episode is going to be talking about The Nun. As always, with our brand new movie releases, we will have a sort of a spoiler-free section at the front end. And then we'll let everyone know when we're going to get into some of the more spoilery end scenes. Because these movies are so new, we want to give you an opportunity to not have an ending ruin for you. But we will at least let you know if we think you should see it, even in the non-spoiler part. With that said, I'd like to get into this week's debate question.
We will see how the Lord favors you.
No, you dare not, you blasphemer! He will punish you. The jaws of hell will devour you. All of you! No!
So James Wan has a habit for introducing some.
Oh, Mitch.
What?
Mitch.
You like that?
Oh.
Yeah, he has a habit to introduce. God, you totally right. That was totally not intended, but I'm very proud of myself for it. Of introducing, leaving like an Easter egg that he's going to spin off into something. We saw this with, the introduction of Annabelle in the first Conjuring, where even Annabelle really wasn't a central point of the story. We also, in this, we have the nun, because we saw the nun from Conjuring 2. My question is, to all of you, based on this movie, where do you think James Wan takes it? How does he expand the Waniverse even further from this point? Lisa, I'd like to start with you. Where do you think James is going to go with this one?
So I'm trying to. I'm pretty sure this is not a spoiler, but you find out that one of the characters' names is Maurice. So I think he's going to spin off into another movie just called Maurice. And you get more of his backstory, what happens to him after the nun. And the twist at the very end of Maurice is you realize he ends up getting married, has a little girl.
Oh, God.
And that girl is Belle. And it's Maurice from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, shit.
Just saying.
Ow.
It would explain why he's a little crazy and kooky.
He goes back and starts inventing things in a quiet provincial town.
That's right.
So the beast is Volok? Is that what's happening?
It could be. It could be.
Maybe.
I am the Disney crowd. My wife's in now.
Yeah. Wow. That's got great crossover potential, even more than these movies.
Who's singing A Tale as Old as Time in this one? Who's Mrs. Potts in this?
Well, apparently they thought that there were Disney fans at this movie because they showed the preview for the Nutcracker.
Yeah, our trailers were a little odd. We got the Lady Gaga movie twice, and then
We had it twice.
We had it 4 times.
oh my God,
Really?
Yeah. So the guy behind us is like, well, I've seen the movie. I don't have to go anymore.
Wow, that
Pretty
is
fun.
an excessive amount of Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
October 5th, The Star is Born. Just saying.
Bonus episode.
Nate, what about you? Where would you take this?
Yeah, so I was going to go with Maurice. You stole mine. But yours was better than mine, so that's fine. The plot is there's crazy shit going down in Romania, right?
Yeah.
And there are some relics that are of note that help or that are very to the plot, right? One of them happens to be a key, right? So I want to know I want to follow this key around. So I want to make a movie that's like the Maltese Falcon with the key as the MacGuffin, but it's just called The Key.
It's called okay.
The Key.
Okay.
The skeleton? No, not skeleton key. Wait,
Skarsgård.
oh shit! You're gonna remake Skeleton Key with Skarsgård? That sounds good. What's Kate Hudson? Yeah, I'm no movies with Kate Hudson for me.
Are you talking about the New Orleans one?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not offensive to people from Louisiana at all. Skeleton Key. Yeah, that should be a future episode. But anyway, mine's just the key. You're following this key around. Who's trying to get this key? Apparently, a bunch of priests and nuns are after it, and a demon. You can do that.
Okay, I like it. I'll say mine. I think what we're gonna learn when we talk about the movie in general is that the reason why Valak has been released into the world is because of a Romanian count that set up that castle.
He was a duke, but that's okay.
A duke, count. He's still royalty. But let me ask some. What used to be Romania? What was Romania called beforehand? Boom. Transylvania. We have a Dracula spinoff as a prequel for all of this. Dracula. I mean, you see these bodies hanging around while he's doing these satanic rituals. I've got to assume it's Dracula. That's where we're going with the prequel.
What? Okay, so just Dracula.
Yeah, but it means Dracula summons, Valak.
Okay, that makes total sense. Yeah,
I mean, it's, maybe that explains why he sort of gets the blood I don't know. It just spins it off. That or this Duke fights Dracula. Either way, Dracula's involved somehow. I'll let you all figure out the way to do it.
The Ring versus Dracula.
Right. Tom, what about you? Where would you take this franchise now?
So I was thinking about it, and my answer is kind of be spoilery, so I'm going to go in a different direction.
Okay.
I mentioned Maurice, and in the beginning when they show up, he's feeding some goats, and one of them somewhere in there is Black Phillip from the Vivitch.
Oh, Lord, Tom. Oh, goodness.
Yeah. You thought it was the Duke. No, the Duke was just a pawn of the goat in the town who is obviously...
He's Black Phillip all along.
Yeah.
I like it. I think the more Black Phillip we get in our lives, the better.
Ooh, call it the Goat Father. Because he's pulling the strings.
God damn you, Nate. I would see a lot of these. Definitely the Goat Father is up there. I'm interested in this Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that one. I think you won, Lisa.
Yeah,
I think you won.
Yeah.
Lisa.
I know I did.
Oh man,
no. Well, before we get into the movie, I do want to take a quick moment to say thank you, everyone who has followed us, who has subscribed to us, and has left reviews. Has left us comments. We spent some of today talking with some people who were following Lisa's unfortunate, being forced into seeing this movie. So we posted some pictures, and yeah, it was, someone was not as thrilled about this movie as others, for sure.
So we've done, it feels like 1 million episodes. It's been over a year doing this podcast. After a while, I kind of started getting used to watching some of this stuff. But I have to say, this is definitely one where I reverted straight back to Unsuspecting Victim.
Yeah. Well, that's why.
Yeah, like previous trauma is like just coming back.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. It never goes away fully. I think that's what we've learned here.
Yeah.
But we want to thank.
Like, if you're gonna show up like, hey, Mitch, we need to talk to you. Like that's
right. No, but we want to thank everyone who has followed us on Twitter at TX Pod Massacre, on Instagram, Texas Podcast Massacre, and on Facebook. And again, thank you for all the reviews and the subscribes. Please, if you haven't, please give us a rating. Let us know what you liked about the show. As we always say, tell your friends, tell your enemies. This is your way of, showing someone our podcast is basically your way of pretending to be like Nate and dragging Tom to Cabin Fever in the theater. So,
I'll just add that apparently nuns don't do a lot. So I'm assuming they're like a really heavy podcast subscriber demographic. So if you have any nun friends in between all day prayer sessions when they can't talk, they can listen to podcasts. So, I have none.
You have none. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Oh, the puns will keep going. With that said, let's get into this week's movie of the week, The Nun.
I had a series of visions when I was younger. And after each one ended, the same thought would be stuck in my head.
What did you see?
I saw a nun. Word of my visions reached the church, and I was asked to accompany a priest to an abbey in Romania.
The Abbey has a long history.
Valak.
Not all good.
yours.
She lay him down. Callahan's here.
All right, Tom. So as our unsuspecting victim, we want you to tell the listeners, what is The Nun about? And in a short, kind of an elevator speech, what is this movie about?
About some shenanigans at an abbey, and they call in the discount exorcist guy to go investigate, and some extraterrestrial, but that's not the right word. Some supernatural stuff goes on at an abbey, and they have to fight back the devil. 2 boring results.
Oh shit!
Oh,
well, commentary on that.
Yeah,
we're getting some hot takes on this one as well. Yeah, that's good. If you are aware of The Conjuring 2, you were introduced to the nun in that movie, also known as Valak. This is the same nun, same Valak. This is basically Valak gets an origin story.
Which is interesting because she also was in Annabelle Origins last year, which was also an origin story. So the link to an origin story from another movie that was a sequel got its own origin story. What has happened? I blacked out. What happened? There's a lot of things happening there.
Yeah, and I need to go back and rewatch Conjuring 2, or at least flip to a few scenes, because I know Conjuring 2 deals with the crooked man, and that's the the thing the Warrens take back, the little how they take all the knickknacks with them whenever they do these exorcisms or whatever. And I can't remember if the nun was actually the crooked man or if that was 2 or 3 separate. It was a little confusing. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Conjuring 2, I think, is going to spin off multiple sequels and origin stories.
Yeah, well, we got Conjuring 3 coming up next year, so get ready for some other creepy origin story coming soon.
Like the donut, or I don't know.
Maybe they'll all fight each other when they're getting desperate for more money. It looks like, and you we'll get into your facts. It looks like, though, this movie, based on pre-sales, is already tracking to make 40 to 45 million on the opening weekend, which is, I think I saw more than all the Conjuring movies combined.
I mean, is that taking into account inflation, though? I mean, come on.
Well, it's not that much. Inflation's not that much over the last 6 years. It's
back in my day, we paid $0.25 per gas a gallon, it's. I paid a nickel for some.
Does it take in how many times MoviePass has gone bankrupt since?
Yeah, that's true.
So some facts about this one, Nate. What do you got?
This movie came out today, September 6th. It is 136 minutes long. It's obviously part of the Wannaverse, Conjuring-verse story, and the movie is pretty similar in style, I would say. It's only been out today, but right now it's a 6.5 on IMDb and a 55 Metascore, so it's kind of, I don't know if it's quite as critically acclaimed, but it's probably going to do great in the theater, so they don't care. The director is Corin Hardy. This is his second actual movie after 2015's The Hollow. He's more of a writer. He directed a Prodigy music video back in 2009 and some other music videos from people like The Horrors and something called All Along the Watchtower, Devlin, featuring Ed Sheeran. So he's got an Ed Sheeran connect. And he's got 2 movies in production right now. So I'm assuming The Nun will be this guy's jumping off point. The main actress, how do you say this, Mitch? Thaisa, obviously the younger sister of Vera, who is the Warren person
Lorraine,
in The Conjuring,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
So she's the main person here. Probably the only person, the only person's name I remember, it's Irene, and there's Maurice. Other than that, I cannot tell you any person's name in this entire movie.
Well,
she's
Irene. Yeah, Father Burke.
Sure.
There were all of 4 named characters in this movie, and 2 of them.
There's more. I looked at IMDb and like sister, whatever. Like I don't remember any of their names.
No.
Ohanian, and then Alice was the. Come on, man.
Damn, Lisa is just dropping the mic on you. She's
It's like
she's going all MGK on your Eminem ass. I mean, it's just
basically, yeah. I just thought they're like all cannon fodder. So it's like sister fodder number 1, sister fodder number 2.
yeah.
You know.
Just Volek victim number.
Exactly. Yeah, it could have been the same. She is a regular in your favorite American Horror Story, and she's going to be in the Armageddon season that's coming out next week.
Yeah.
So she's getting all her horror stuff in right now.
Yeah, she's actually only in, I think, overall, she's only in 2 or 3 seasons, but she's in the most popular seasons, for sure.
So I'm assuming that's why they brought her back.
Yeah, well, the 2 of the popular seasons are crossing over in Apocalypse.
Exactly, yeah. She's in one of my favorite horror movies in the last few years, Final Girls. Another good horror movie that's probably a future episode. And she's been in a few other things. Those are kind of the major ones. I guess Demian Bichir is the other actor. The guy, I forgot his name already, Father Burke. He's been in tons of stuff. He was in first episode of the podcast, Alien Covenant. He's been in Hateful Eight, Machete 2, one of my personal favorites, Savages, and a bunch of other movies.
Yep.
Other than that, actors and actresses, anyone really stand out to you guys?
No,
didn't think so. No. Oh, also he was Fidel Castro in the Che movies. I forgot about that one.
Well, I mean, there's Frenchie. You mentioned Frenchie, right?
Yeah, but he is an actor. I don't really know. I don't think I've known him.
Yeah, I don't know him as an actor, but I will say Frenchie is a bright. So let's start there. Before we get into that, so we have Sister Irene, who is a nun on training, hadn't taken her final vows yet. We have Father Burke, and we have Frenchie, who is like a local expat, just working the farms there.
Working the farm.
He took a mission trip and was just like, oh, this is where I need to be. What did y'all think about the characters?
I like the characters, and I think the actors that played those main 3 did a really good job. My issues were not with them or their acting.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, overall thoughts. I mean, Tom, what did you think? This is like your third. I mean, you are basically. I mean, there's your third movie in a theater. I mean, I know it's a horror movie, but still, it's your third horror movie. Talk to me about just the feeling of being in the movie theater. Because what I'm really excited about this episode is we have 2 unsuspecting victims who don't like horror movies, and Lisa certainly wasn't really looking forward to this. And then even within me and Nate being the horror fans. Nate has already said he is not a Wanaverse fan, whereas I think I enjoy them a little bit more, or am more likely to enjoy them. So I'm interested to get everyone's take, just initial take on the time. So Tom, talk me through your experience at the theater tonight.
So it wasn't really that scary because about halfway through the lights turned on in the theater, and they come off.
It was maybe like it was like about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The lights were just on in the theater.
Oh my gosh.
The suspense was kind of lost in a very well-lit theater with everyone looking around.
I'll say one thing I do like about going to these where I know there's going to be a lot of jump scares is just hearing the other people react. But we didn't have that many reactions in this one. I think we got more reactions when we went to see It. Because we had one girl next to us that was just, she got dragged there. She was terrified. Poor thing.
Yeah, we had a full theater. Was y'all's theater full for this one?
No, maybe like half full. Yeah, about half.
Okay, yeah. Ours was full, and it was the smaller showing of the 2 they had tonight. So I don't know if the other one.
To be fair, though, Vatican, I mean, not really a Conjuring.
No, right.
Yeah. But no, there were reactions, but there was actually kind of a decent amount of like people just laughing.
Yeah, it was more laughter.
There was like some laughter at some of the stuff. There's some, I think it was intentionally, but maybe slightly unintentional comedy moments that were a little surprising, which I enjoyed. in the movie.
Yeah, there were a few of those in ours. I didn't think it was, I remember, I think someone we follow that's with Bloody Disgusting kind of had a comment about people laughing during Hereditary, and we've kind of talked about that. I didn't think the laughing in this movie was necessarily disrespectful. Like people weren't just like outright making fun of it by any stretch, but it was a little off-putting that there were so many like forced like chuckle scenes, right? Like I don't know. They just felt like they had to like keep breaking the tension, but it just came off as weird to me.
Yeah, well, there was one scene where, like, for the dozenth time, someone, like, follows something for no reason. And then, like, someone's like, come on. And everyone was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad they said that because that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, you're following a lot of things. This is hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Nate, what did you overall think as our non-Wanaverse fan?
I mean, if you liked Annabelle and The Conjuring, you'll probably like this. It's the same exact kind of strategy. You follow someone somewhere, you see them walking across an open door, you see them walking across like some forest that's always super dimly lit, and then they end up behind you.
Yeah. Yeah, I would almost argue that, like, even if you like The Conjuring and Annabelle, you're probably not going to like this. It is, I mean, almost so formulaic to every other kind of horror movie out there. It follows all the tropes that get made fun of, and coming off the heels of movies like Hereditary, of movies like Get Out. I mean, it just seems it felt dated almost. Like, it felt like this is a movie that should have come out in like the mid 2000s.
Yeah, I think it would have been a little bit more fresh then. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I think the leads were solid. Frenchie and Sister Irene were probably the best characters. Like, you were actually rooting for them, so that was good. And a lot of these movies, you're just like, I don't care.
Right.
This movie, you're like, all right, I like those two. I hope these two. First of all, I hope they hook up, but secondly, I guess I hope they are alive. So that was in that order. I was like, all right, hook up and then get out alive. So that was my strategy for them, hopefully.
Yeah, so I don't want to get into too many details just yet, but I guess I'll open it up. Is there anything, at least for the non-spoilery part of this show, that y'all want to kind of touch on with this movie? Any other comments or thoughts?
I mean, I guess in terms of the Conjuring universe, so I've said I'm not a fan, but I've seen every single movie that's included in this. So it's not like I'm actively avoiding them.
Right.
But for this one, it's an origin story, but it doesn't really kind of like hit home. Whereas like in Annabelle Origins, it actually linked back to other things a lot better.
Yeah.
This one doesn't really link a lot. There's like one final scene where it kind of links more together with more of the present Conjuring time.
Yeah.
But really, it's kind of like a self-contained, almost throwaway. I wish it would have done a little bit more to like lean into the universe, whereas it was kind of on its own. I don't know. What do you think, Tom? I guess you don't really know the universe that well, but
yeah, there was stuff going on that I'm sure people were saying, "Oh yeah, that's that thing," and it just fell on deaf ears to me.
I say, if you're a fan of upside down crosses, this is your movie. Also,
if you're a fan of crosses, period, you like this movie.
This could be the movie that has the most crosses in it I think it's ever been filmed. I don't think it's even close.
Actually, no, because in The Conjuring 2, there's a whole scene where the girl's in her bedroom and she has nothing but crosses littering the entire walls. And they all do the same upside down turn thing.
There's like 30 rooms in this convent that are like that.
But all the crosses are busted ass and broken. I don't know.
It still counts. They have a cross moat.
I mean, whoever's doing the costuming in this movie had the easiest job. I feel like it's just I just need a bunch of nun outfits and a shit ton of those like old crappy Halloween costumes where like you can see out of the face mask but you can't see into it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was. I mean, that person collected a paycheck for not having to do a whole lot. Kudos to that person.
Yeah. What do you think, Lisa, about it? Because you've seen all the Conjurings, right?
I've only seen the second one. I haven't seen the first one. but I know the premise of it. So one thing I did read is that Juan already has a Dia in mind for the Nun 2. So he knows how he's going to link it back in to the Conjuring movies. So I almost think this was kind of like just laying the groundwork for that story, which will hopefully be a little more tied into the Waniverse.
Okay. That makes. I mean, he did write the story for this movie. I forgot to mention that. Maybe this is like A New Hope, and then there's an Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, you did not just compare this to Star Wars.
I did, and then, or maybe it's episode 1. Like Jar Jar Binks is the nun, and then I don't know how it links together, but that makes more sense then. But I wish they would have done a little bit more with it. For me, anyway, at least.
Yeah, so I think I kind of want to move us into our spoiler.
The last thing I was going to say, I think he couldn't do much with it because we already knew too much about this character. From The Conjuring. I mean, we pretty much knew who the demon was and all that stuff. I mean, that's
a good point.
Not much he can do with it.
That's a good point, because with Annabelle, like I said, Annabelle wasn't part of the main narrative in the first Conjuring. It was just this creepy doll that was kind of there, but not really what was driving the events. And I think that played to their advantage. In Conjuring 2, the nun is Valak is driving a lot of the events in that. So I think that's a good point. So Tom, let me ask you, as an unsuspecting victim, would you recommend people see this in theaters? And if so, who is this movie for?
I would say, no. For me, no.
As a person who has seen a grand total of 3 horror movies in theaters, would you tell people to go to it?
No, because without seeing the rest of them, I had no idea Valak was a thing, apparently, that you guys knew about. So that I have no idea.
You see the origin, so it's not like...
Yeah, but...
So imagine like what happened in this movie, but like in the future. That was The Conjuring 2. So it's not like it was...
Well, and I think what's probably put Tom at a disadvantage too is, they spend a lot more time talking about Valak and all that in Conjuring 2. And this, I think he flips a page in a book that just has Valak on there, and that's it. That's all you got.
And there were plenty of jump scares. So like if you like the feeling of jump scares, totally go see it in theaters. If you're into that kind of feeling and adrenaline rush or whatever, then definitely see it in the theater.
Although to be fair, the best jump scare I knew was coming from the trailer, which kind of sucked.
Yeah, agreed.
Even though I knew it was coming from the trailer, it was still a good jump scare. I'm not a huge jump scare person. That was pretty great. What about you, Lisa, before we get into the spoiler part?
Yeah.
Was this scary to you?
So I'm gonna say it from 2 perspectives. I'm gonna say it from the unsuspecting victim perspective, and then I'm gonna say it from what I think a horror movie fan would think. So from an unsuspecting victim perspective, hell no. That's 10 out of 10 no thank yous. Because I was not looking forward to this. I don't like supernatural, so it just, not good.
You don't like the TV show Supernatural?
No, supernatural stuff like demon. You know this, Nate. So, from a horror movie fan perspective, though, I was disappointed in it, and I'll say this: I really liked The Conjuring 2. Did we do an episode on it?
No, I think we just went to see it.
Okay, we just went to see. This has been my life. Oh my god. So I got dragged to that one, and I actually thought it was really well done. And that was one of the first horror movies that I saw that I was like, okay, this was actually not just a schlocky film. This is actually well put together. So to have that, film very well done, the story was good, and then to go to this was just not very well put together. The reason it is so short is because there's just nothing there.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of people like walking upstairs. If you like people walking down corridors or walking upstairs is probably 1/3 of the movie.
I will say, and this is neither here nor there, but I wanted to be in the room when whoever owns that castle right now in real life, won the bid or whatever to film there, because they're probably paid for the renovations of that. Because Downton Abbey, the place where they filmed, was essentially saved because they used it for the TV show. Yeah. And I'm sure this is the same way. I'm sure that place was like, please pick us because we need that. We need that Wandaverse money to fix this place up.
So this film was filmed entirely in Romania. So there is a Romanian castle that it's there. I mean,
that's awesome. I did start to feel bad for the Romanian tourism board because I'm like, it can't always be this dark and gloomy in Romania. I'm sure some Romanians are like, no, our country's nice.
Like, look, Gary Oldman made Dracula sexy. People were just starting to come back, and now this. Like, God damn it.
Jeez, Nate, would where do you sit in terms of recommending this to if people should see it in theaters?
I'm not a fan of the Conjuring universe in general, but I have appreciated 1 and 2, and we did see Annabelle Creation in the theater, and that was okay. This one, I would probably also say no, unless you're a big Conjuring person. If you are a big Conjuring person, you will like this. So,
yeah,
probably not.
Yeah, I would say this is probably a wait on it for me. I mean, even if you're the type of person that wants to go because you like seeing it with a big crowd and you enjoy like the crowd being kind of into it, I didn't really materialize. It doesn't sound like it happened really at y'all's viewing either. The jump scares are relatively predictable. We'll get into our overall thoughts of the movie in a second, but yeah, I'd say if you're on the fence, particularly if you're a horror fan, I would say wait on this one.
So none of us had rosary tinted glasses about this movie, is what you're saying.
Basically. All right, well, that's gonna wrap it up for just the spoiler free section. We are going to let Hulk Hogan lead us into the remaining part of the review.
Okay, you guys, listen up. People pay good money to see this movie. When they go out to a theater, they want cold sodas, hot popcorn, and no monsters in the projection booth.
God bless. That's the best scene in that whole damn movie. All right. So now we are in the spoiler section. So we are going to talk all sorts of details of the movie. You have been warned. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This movie was a big steamy pile. Am I the only one really thinking that?
So it had its bright moments, mostly in the form of Frenchie.
Frenchie and Irene, yeah.
Meh.
The comedic character was, he was a highlight.
So I will say that I was reading online that someone said it was a shame that the nun herself didn't get credited as Sister Marilyn Manson. And there's one scene towards the end, with like the big climactic scene where they're trying to fight the nun. And I just looked at her face and I was like, oh my God, it looks just like Marilyn Manson.
It is Marilyn Manson. That is... Christ.
We're all stars now in the Nun show.
So that took out a lot of the scariness for me, which was great because I was like, oh my gosh, this is Marilyn Manson right here.
Christ, it is.
Let's end the podcast. It's over.
It's done. Yeah. Oh, that is incredible. I wish it was Marilyn Manson that was part of it. Marilyn Manson's music videos are substantially creepier than anything in this movie.
Oh, that's for sure.
I really, did not enjoy it. I just thought it was boring. I was bored out of my mind with this one. I'd have rather seen Birdemic again.
Ooh. Let's not say things we can't take back, Mitch. But let's go through the highlights first.
Yeah, of course. I needed to get that out. The problem with these new movies is I have to wait longer before I can go into confessional. And so that's what this was for me. Yeah, so what did y'all think about this opening?
My last confession.
Oh, sorry. What was that, Nate?
I was like, it's been 5 weeks since my last confession. I hate you. Like that was
So what did y'all think about this Jurassic Park-esque opening sequence with like one nun getting like ripped into the darkness in like the exact same sort of way as a velociraptor attack in the very first Jurassic Park?
I thought they did it better in Taken.
Yeah. Except no Liam Neeson come in. The Vatican didn't even give us a cool line.
I have a very specific set of skills. The skills are hanging myself from a really high window.
Can nuns not call for backup?
Oh my God! Yeah, nuns do not pay telephone bills. That's the first thing.
I really did feel bad because I was like, can we bring these nuns into the 21st century? There's no electricity. They're getting what did he say? A quarterly supply from the local village. I was like, what?
That wasn't that big of like a cart.
No.
The cart was not that large.
Well, there's only 2 of them there, so.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah, apparently no one talks about it. Everyone just spits everywhere. I mean, you are more likely to get spit on than you are getting, saved.
Well, the thing is that most of the deaths in this movie aren't deaths either.
But yeah, they're already all dead.
It's all premonitions and other things and Valak messing with you. There's really no deaths in this movie, almost none.
A lot of zombies.
That's what I was
more
about to say.
Zombies in this movie than I
first time
had expected.
That first nun pops up, I'm like, is this a zombie movie? I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
And I feel like the entire movie, and I think we touched on it just briefly in the non-spoilery section. This entire movie was a whole bunch of why are you doing like everything, like every single thing they did. I was like, I would do that differently. I would not do that.
Yeah, what would I do differently? I have a couple. I basically said this is the Sister Act sequel that no one wanted.
Yeah.
First of all, can't get Whoopi Goldberg a cameo. I mean, come on. Like that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
No, not a lot of Sister Act fans.
Man,
wow.
I appreciate it.
You may have just spoiled something down the line.
Yeah, you may have just spoiled something. That's all for something later in the show. That's. That is why we're silent on this end. Anyway, so I'm going to move us along. Tom, what? Okay, so this really jumps kind of right into the action. Now, Tom, I don't know your religious affiliation. Doesn't really matter. But I'm curious. This little tribunal of cardinals in the Vatican. This was the most hastily, poorly written section of the movie in my mind. What did you think about?
Like, know what he was saying. I think he was reading cue cards like behind the other actors, like clearly.
Like they didn't even like explain that. Here, everything you need to know is in this folder that someone handed to me.
Yeah. I agree with the part where he says like, "There's a lot of secrets here." I mean, now there's less secrets because of the subpoenas, but generally, I agree with that in a abstract sense. So that part I liked.
Yeah. They didn't really explain why he's in the Vatican. He's just like in the Vatican to be.
You're the miracle finder, miracle hunter, right?
Actually, now that I think about it, how did they even find out that Frenchie found this body? There's no freaking telephones out there.
It's like, you know how there's like Chinese telephone. This is like spitting. Like, so they communicate via spit, and then people spit long enough to get somewhere with a phone, and then they figured it out.
Oh my gosh.
Gee.
Best guess I have. I don't know.
If they spit so much that the flame in the mountain goes out, then that's how the Vatican knows. It just washes it away. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, and then when we meet Irene, she's teaching children that the Bible doesn't really have everything in it. Which seems like not a great lesson if you're trying to be a nun at this elementary school. It's good for her, but
correct. Wait, what?
I'm saying it's correct, but I'm just
that's not how they do things.
Right.
She seemed like she was ahead of her time. She wasn't from the 50s. She was more like a 70s person.
Yeah.
In terms of teaching, yeah. She was basically like the cool teacher that you had when you were in elementary school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did enjoy that her character arc is, well, I believe that religion and science work together, and then she turned into, nope, I have visions and I'm fully committed to religion.
That's the whole way.
Fuck that science shit. Which you know what? In the face of a demon, maybe that is the rational answer. Sometimes
Yeah, I don't know. It was her. Yeah, her character development was something. The visions really came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Do you think that was earned, Lisa? The visions part?
Well, can I ask a question first? And I don't know if any of you guys know, but I'm not Catholic. Did nuns really take their vows laying face down?
With a sheet over their face?
No, I think she was face down. I think her face was on the ground.
Well, when Nate took his nun vows, I think he got to sit. I think they try to make it comfortable now. Nate, can you confirm?
I think
when Nate took his vows, the whole place set on fire.
So.
Nate can't go into a church without it setting on fire.
Pretty
You're
much.
Right. Pretty much.
The cross only turned like sideways for me.
they just stopped. They're like, it's fine. Y'all get the point, right?
What'd you ask me, Nate? You asked me about her character development.
Well, I was just saying, yeah. Did you care about her at all?
Yeah.
She's so pathetic, but I just don't know. Like, she had visions the entire time. You learn later in the movie,
right?
And their people weren't really there. Like, was any of this earned? Because it didn't really happen.
I know. So the whole Mary points the way thing was way too obvious. That annoyed me.
It had the statue.
Had a light on it.
I know what. It looked like it was a fucking video game.
No,
hint.
because it was. Yeah, well, there was a light shining in and it reflected off the finger.
It's like when you play Resident Evil and you don't know which path you're supposed to go. And it's
that
like,
was dumb. That was way too obvious. Now, in terms of her visions, I thought that was well done because it was a little confusing because I was like, there's really other nuns here and they're just chill with being here with this demon, but they managed to convince me, and then I was like, oh, they're not here. Never mind. So no, I did want her to survive. I did like her character. She's a much braver person than I am for some of the things that she did.
Define brave. Hold on a second. Let's define brave. Walking into every single sound or thing you see toward it, is that brave? I don't know.
Walking towards it instead of running the hell away like I would have. I think that's brave.
Bravery isn't necessarily intelligence.
Yeah.
like you can be brave, but you can be dumb as rocks. So, there's that.
Or fearless. I don't know, but she was something else. To run out into the woods and save the father and all that stuff. She had guts.
I don't know. That's part of my point. It hit every single trope when you would think that they're trying to portray her as she's wise beyond her years, and she understands that not everything on the surface not everything is what it is on the surface, right? That's kind of her whole point.
All that nuance out the window and hanging itself in this movie for sure. All right, so I got a rant about the God rules of this movie.
Okay.
What? What are the rules here? There's a place where a demon is coming down. Apparently, hell is in the earth, somewhere between the different layers of the earth.
Next to the tree.
Somewhere near the magma. Yeah, in the center core. That's where and then they have to come from the bottom. Obvious. That's how that works.
Started from the bottom. Now he's here.
Yeah. Well, kind of. Only kind of here. That's the thing. But so God. He says God ends here. Isn't God supposed to be God? I don't know. That's just me. I thought God could do basically anything.
I mean, I think I don't think that's literal.
I think the thing that bothered me more was that the Duke or whoever owned the place had to do a ritual to get the demon out, and then they closed it. But then just a bomb hit, and they were like, "Oh, it's open again."
Yeah.
Jesus' blood is not as powerful as a bomb from World War II? Is that what we're led to believe here?
Yeah. Is it because the bomb was because of evil, because of the war? I don't know.
Well, I just think,
The bomb of evil. This movie makes no sense.
I know. That was dumb.
And then the crosses, there's so many crosses. The crosses per capita, I don't know what the Romanian census is taken, but whatever it is, the crosses per capita here.
I'm surprised they still have a black forest for all the crosses, all the wood they had to chop down to make those crosses.
Yeah, I'm just surprised the trees weren't crosses. That just would have saved everyone a lot of time.
Right?
Apparently, they couldn't make that work. But there's crosses everywhere. And once again, I had to go over this. They are worthless. Everyone who has a cross dies.
Yeah. No, not Frenchie.
Yeah, he carries a cross and then he basically becomes possessed.
Well, he didn't die though.
The one in the bar. He left his bar cross.
Wait,
He left his bar cross. That's what he should have brought the bar cross with him.
And one cross set a zombie on fire, although it took a shotgun blast to kill it. Sure.
Yeah, it also like burned the guy's hand who was holding it. It's like, this is really not working very well.
If a shotgun blast could kill a demon, we wouldn't have a lot of these
Nate,
movies.
it is the Catholic way that you can't do anything without suffering a little.
Ooh,
Sure.
That is, you can't kill a demon with a holy cross without, burning the flesh off your hand a little bit.
Now let's talk about this Jesus blood grenade real fast.
The holy hand grenade, yeah. I mean,
you think
what?
they could have spread the relic around a little bit? They were hoarding a lot of blood.
Was Jesus going to like donate blood like every couple months before he died? What? How is this possible? Was he an organ donor? I mean, we don't know. Check his driver's license. What was going on with this
Nate,
guy?
look, back to my Dracula comment. You know that part where Dracula stabs the cross and blood's just flowing out of it?
Yeah.
It's same blood. Same blood. They just like bottled it up. Like it's just on the floor and they're like, oh shit, we can't let this go to waste.
There's a Jesus blood distillery somewhere in the Vatican that they're
yeah.
using?
Well, I mean, in Transylvania / Romania, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. It's
Like, what if we cut it with some old granddad? Is that lessen or multiply the impact?
that is how you summon demons.
It would have been better if when they opened the door, there was just a bucket of blood and that was the relic.
that makes more sense. So, Mitch, I'm saying there should be some sort of Kraken, like they should have been released the Volok. They should have said that during this movie at one point. Really a missed opportunity and crossover promotional opportunity.
It was ridiculous how much blood, but I did like how they did it. I did like her just spitting in the face of the nun.
Oh, that was great. The face blood, Jesus blood spit move, fantastic.
What I don't understand is that, okay, the Knights Templar needed one drop to seal this thing initially. And then here they're just deciding, like, fuck it. We're just going to smear it everywhere. Like just,
how blood makes stone come together. Classic move of that.
Yeah. It was, I don't know. I love just the smearing it in people's faces. Like, here you go.
Yeah.
But she Carlito'd him, Mitch. She spat in the face of people who didn't want to be cool.
There's a lot of spitting in this movie.
Yes.
Just in general. She must,
crosses. That's the whole movie. Spitting and crosses.
I mean, this movie was basically a giant spit in the face to the viewer. We have your money. Let me just spit in your face for an hour and a half.
Go watch Sister Act and go watch Constantine. And just don't watch this movie. You basically solved it. Yeah, Constantine is way better.
Yeah. Did they ever explain why the Duke wanted to summon Volok? It doesn't seem like he was getting anything out of the deal.
Yeah. Is this sort of like a Paimon situation where he would get rewarded?
You would think so, but they didn't explain it. So I don't know. They did nothing to really. I think that's probably what I don't like about this movie overall. Is, at least with Annabelle, they actually enhance the mythology. They add some more details to it. This they didn't really. I know about the same about Volok that I did after Conjuring 2. And I learned nothing new from this. Outside that apparently, Nazi bombs can open up pathways to hell, which I think is the plot for Overlord. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. That was one of the more applicable trailers to the movie that we saw.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. Tom, anything else with this one that you could have stood out to you?
Why are the catacombs in complete darkness have so much light coming into them? Like, they all have torches, but then they drop them, and it's so bright down there.
Yeah, the lighting in this movie is intense.
It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, when she's coming back up the passageway and the nun or whatever is just closing down light, I was like, what is this, moonlight? You're blocking the moonlight now?
Yeah, but where's it coming from?
I don't know. It was so confusing.
Maybe the nun has her own, like, how TVs have backlights? Maybe maybe Valak has his or her own backlighting to make it more ominous.
I just think if they go pitch black, then Vin Diesel shows up, and no one wants that.
This would have been a much better movie if it was Don't Breathe in a convent in Romania with Valak chasing you.
I don't want to see any Valak with a turkey baster, so I'm going to disagree with you on that point.
That's true. I guess I wrote down the alternate title for this movie should just be Midnight Strolls. Because basically every character is outside, inside, walking around at midnight every single time for no reason.
Just stay in your fucking room. It's not hard. I don't understand.
The door opens without you seeing anybody. Just close that door. Oh. Yeah, that's it. You've solved your problem. No, I gotta walk out there. I gotta get my steps in for my Fitbit or something. I don't know what they're doing, but it was intense. No. What did you think, Lisa, about all the walking around at night in this movie?
I told you these are some brave people. I would not do that. I gotta get up in the middle of the night with Damien lately, and I'm not walking around the pitch black house with him. I'm sitting in the corner making sure I can see every corner of that room.
And that's your house. It's not some Romanian
exactly.
You're seeing a nun pop up everywhere.
If I'm that cautious in my own house, there's no way I'm wandering around a graveyard at night.
So what's the deal with the kid? Was he in other Wanaverses, or was that...
No, it was just what was haunting that father.
And let's talk about the little kid here. So yeah, it's haunting him, and I assume the whole point is Valak is taking that form to mess with him.
Yeah.
But my question is, okay, so Valak is going to take the form of the nun in this movie because it's in an abbey. Fine, I get it. Why is Valak still a nun in Conjuring 2? If it could just change forms, why is it still like, you know what? I kind of like these, this robe is airy.
So one thing that you said, Mitch, and I'm hoping that if they do the Nun 2, it comes true, is that the sister, why did I forget her name all of a sudden? Irene and Lorraine are related somehow. And so maybe that would be why.
See, that's what I was hoping we were going to get at the ending, which we can kind of move into the twist, right? And how it connects to the Conjuring. But that's what I was hoping we would get. I was hoping we would get something that, Valak was going to come after. Why it was tormenting Lorraine and Conjuring 2 was because Irene and Lorraine are somehow related.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can't teach an old demon new tricks or something. So like, I'm just going to stay with this nun outfit.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it must be comfortable, Yeah,
it must be. I don't know I wish there was more of a link. Maybe this Nun 2 will be the direct link. That's probably what will end up happening, to be honest.
Yeah, because the link that it was, it was just the exorcism they talked about in the very first movie. And poor Maurice, he got done wrong.
Crazy old Maurice.
Gaston in the corner, Brandon, I don't know, exercising him, I guess. It was just weak. It's like, okay. And then Valak's going to go off and torment some family in England for some reason. Like, why?
So is that all that in the newer ones? Like, what are the rules that they can only possess things and kind of mess with people's brains? They can't, because she could fire breathe people away from her.
And she buried a guy under 6 feet of dirt.
Yeah, so what's her goal? If this is just kill people, fucking murder fools, don't mess with their brains.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the only thing I can surmise about this is that the doorway closed. So while the door was back open because of the bomb, right? It didn't get sealed because only one drop of the blood of Christ it just kind of patched it up. But you got to get Gorilla Glue in there and some shit. When they smeared all of it, it closed the portal. So it's Valak's weaker now, but Valak is still in our world, right? So I think Valak's lost that whole fucking Super Saiyan bullshit where she blasts about 8 nuns across the whole room and shit. I don't know.
Well, they weren't really there, Mitch.
Well, no, they were there. I think she was seeing the past.
Oh, was that it?
Well, yeah, because one nun's just like dead. Like they're saying one nun that's dead with like the fucking stigmata happening to her.
Yeah, but then where were the other nuns that got murdered and their necks broke when they got blasted?
I don't know. Maybe she had to eat. Shit, I don't know, Nate.
This doesn't make any sense. All right, let's get it.
None of this movie made any sense.
We need to move on.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about with this movie?
So I guess the end is basically she gets possessed. He like gets the condensation from Jesus. The what was it? The
holy hand grenade.
The holy hand grenade.
Yep.
Gets her unpossessed for a little bit. Then she swallows Jesus or puts Jesus' blood in her mouth, spits it on Valak. Valak is defeated. Also spitting blood on the demon, then closed up a bunch of rocks again. Of course, that's how that works.
Yeah.
And then he ended up being possessed and has an upside down cross scar on the back of his neck, and he is the one who carries Valak into the Conjuring universe in the future.
Yes.
Pretty formulaic. Was that a twist, anyone, or that was pretty obvious to everybody?
No, I mean you knew it was going to tie back in somehow. So
I don't want to use the word twist too loosely. It was a thing that happened in order to bridge this movie to the other ones.
Like a counterclockwise, like quarter turn instead of like a full twist.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a thing that happened. It's best I can describe it because it was a pretty big letdown.
It was. I agree.
All right. Well, I guess what I'd like to ask you all then is, what would you have done differently?
Son of a bitch, you left the bodies and you only moved the headstones! You only moved the headstones! Why? Why?
I'm going to jump in first, if I may. So they originally are there because they're trying to see if the grounds are still holy or not. I would think that maybe if you just take the castle that, someone's been doing major satanic rituals and you have actual evidence of, a demon being summoned, maybe you just assume that it's never holy. Just a thought.
This is the poltergeist.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think the drop was perfect. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Poltergeist. Here's my question. They, at one point, the priest, father, whatever, he gets tricked into going out into the grass. He gets trapped in a coffin and is like immediately buried, right? In like no time at all. When he does escape with Irene's help, he finds a bunch of books. And then he proceeds to read these books in the monastery to try to understand, although it doesn't help him. There's no real point. He learns nothing. Here's my point, or my thought. You know what the great thing about books are? You can take them wherever the fuck you want with you. You don't have to stay there. You can go back to the town and read them there. You can take them anywhere. There's no checkout system from a coffin, as best as I can tell.
Yeah. It's like they're actually due back next Thursday. So
you don't have to like rub in some like dust and bones and like mark your name and a due date back. You just great. I'm just gonna borrow these and I'm gonna not be here where I was immediately buried alive.
Your job is to determine if something supernatural is happening. And you get buried under 6 feet of dirt in like 1 second, and then you escape, and you both see a crazy nut. I say, yeah. You go back and say yes. Let's bring in the cavalry.
Yeah, done. Yeah, agreed. Nate, is that what you would have done differently then? What
I would have done differently is if I was the nuns before going on a suicide mission.
Yeah.
To the place where God doesn't exist, according to that door. Maybe I call for backup. I think the Vatican's got a pretty great system of communication even back then. I at least call somebody before I go in, right? Get some backup. You're the last two people. Everyone has been murdered.
Yep.
You're the last. I mean, I don't get it. I guess maybe if you wanted to keep praying, to keep the continual prayer thing. First of all, also batshit crazy. You have to pray continuous for centuries. Then what was Jesus' blood for? what was the point of that? Give me a little. Jesus' blood should be at least a little bit of a break from praying. That's just my personal idea. But yeah, I mean, I would contact somebody, and then I guess you know what? If you're gonna use one drop of Jesus' blood to close up some portal and all the rocks transmagically go together, and a bomb can like open that up again, maybe you use 5 drops of Jesus' blood. Like get a turkey baster like you were mentioning, Mitch.
Yeah.
Get some sort of beaker situation. Like measure it out. Like get a more liberal amount of just blood to cover this, and then you don't have to worry about it.
There you go. I like it.
Yes.
I like it. Lisa, what do you do differently?
Everything. Just, oh my gosh. Every time they did something, I was like, why are you doing that?
Before I get back, I'm just surprised that Nate's answer wasn't don't be a nun. Don't join the convent. just stay away from religion in general.
That was implied for me. I apologize.
Yeah, I just thought you were going to lean into it. Anyway, sorry, Lisa. Go back to.
No, I do think it goes back to why in the hell are you making this place, trying to make this a religious place? That guy summoned a demon there. Just shut it down. Shut it down. Close it off.
Well, I mean, we paid all this money, it's kind of, we clearly didn't renovate it very much, but we paid all this money for it, so we gotta get something back out of it.
No, they didn't pay nothing for it. Get out of there. Put up some signs that say "Don't cross, demon inside." I mean, come on.
Well, they didn't even have to. The locals were already like, you mentioned the place, they spit on you.
Exactly.
I think it's safe. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that this priest was very good at his job. He just, yeah. Tom, what do you do differently?
I kind of like everyone stole mine. So I'm going to stick with my answer from the Vavitch and don't believe in God. Because then you're just not there to begin with.
Yeah. I mean, just.
It works both ways.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, and also don't ever do any of the other decisions like Lisa was saying. That's what I was going to say.
Well, so if you're the priest, you're just like, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to go to Romania? Yeah, that sounds great. I
Fix your own shit. I'm out.
yeah. Apparently he did a lot of good things during the World War II. I feel like you just retire on that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. All right. Well, guys, I realize this is a prequel, but even prequels need sequels.
Let's face it, baby. These days, you gotta have a sequel.
Lisa, I know you've been waiting on this. And
Yeah.
Nate has almost spoiled it twice.
Nate screwed me up over here. So
That's my job for the entire podcast.
one of my most favorite movies of all time, I watched it a million times as a kid, was Sister Act. So I think that the sequel would be Sister Act 3. However, I'm going to pull in Whoopi from The Ghost. From Ghost. Okay.
Whoopi.
Yeah, that Whoopi. So you get Whoopi from Ghost to come in and try and pretty much exorcise the demon. And I just think it would be a hilarious sequel. So we're going to call it...
Hold on.
Is there a scene where she fondles Pollock?
Maybe accidentally.
They're going to make some pottery together at one point.
Exactly.
So it's Sister Act 3, None Ya Business.
Ooh,
I like it.
Yeah.
Wow, I was gonna say Blood in the Habit, but that's all. But yours is better. That's
Oh man, Nate, where do you go with this?
Wow, I gotta follow that. All right, well, I went a totally different direction with mine. So clearly, Volok was still around until I guess she was defeated in Conjuring 2 because people knew her name. Man, that makes even less sense now.
Wait, that's the plot?
Yeah, and the other one, like they knew the thing's name. It didn't mean anything.
That's what I mean. This priest is like terrible at his job because he knew the demon's name.
Apparently. Dang it. If I went a different way, I thought of, hey, let's do, instead of going back to the past, let's go to the future, because the Conjuring movies take place in what, the 70s?
Yeah.
60s, 70s?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. What if Volok was obviously in America, or was it? No, it was in England. Well, both. It's falling everywhere. So Volok can be anywhere. Maybe Volok decides to go to the highest levels of government and keep haunting people continuously for all time. So my sequel is Mike Pence, None the Richer.
Oh, damn you. I made a sixpence none the richer joke on the way to the theater. Damn it. All right, Tom, what about you? Where do you take this?
Man, so I was thinking they did like the Pride and Prejudice and Zombie movie. So I'm going to go The Sound of Music and Valak.
The Sound of Valak.
The Sound of Valak.
Like it.
Crossover with like demons, but the what's her face? Julie Andrews.
Julie, what's her face?
What's her face? You know Valak, you don't know Julie Andrews.
So then,
That's what this has done to you.
So then does Valak sing the song, I am 1,600,000 years old, going on 1,700,000 years old?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is way better than what I thought, so yes.
Yeah.
I like it. That's good.
What's the Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do song going to be there?
It's those Gregorian chants they were doing the whole movie.
Ooh, so you turned that into a creepy horror background. Ooh, imagine a really creepy do re mi fa sol la ti do in the background of like a tense scene. That would be amazing. Yeah.
Nazis aren't so bad compared to demons.
That's just like Overlord. God, the trailer we saw. Okay.
Hey, Nazis are the reason that the portal opened again.
True.
That's true.
What you got, Mitch?
I mean, look, guys. Inevitably, in every horror franchise, you get to a point where you want to see who would win in a fight. Who is the biggest, baddest horror movie person? I mean, we got to have Annabelle versus the Nun, right? I mean, they're in the same universe at least.
Okay. Annabelle versus the Nun.
Yeah, they're two demons. Possessing different things.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you could even do a crossover, have Paimon show up.
Oh. That's not what I would do differently if I was the Duke guy. I would have summoned Paimon instead of this terrible person.
What if the Duke was in some like old school bullshit Digimon thing, except it's all demons. Demonmon. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Like he's summoning him like Valak, I choose you.
Just card game on mobile, that would work.
Oh yeah. It's just Pokemon Go, but with demons.
Yeah.
That's my sequel.
Nice.
I like it. You can make it a prequel or a true sequel. Either way, just summon what you will. All right, I think that's gonna lead us to our final segment.
Final cut.
Tom, as our unsuspecting victim, I'd love to give you first honors at giving us your rating for this out of 10.
So yeah, this is, I think we can all agree, pretty crappy. Not really that enjoyable. The jump scares were okay, but predictable, like we said. I'm going to give it 2 flying nuns out of a window by a noose.
Oh, that's actually the flying nun. That's actually where that came from. Yeah, that's shocking.
I like it.
So 2 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not too far behind you. I mean, I think I am giving it 3 out of 10 upside down crosses. It's just a bad movie. It's not nothing. There's
upside down crosses.
Upside down crosses. Yeah, 3 out of 10. Not a whole lot about it. It's very redeeming. It's played out. It feels aged already for just coming out today in 2018.
Did you say and not a lot of it is redeeming?
Yeah.
Damn it. What is happening to you?
There's just no way to salvage this movie by any stretch.
Lisa, check Mitch's neck for upside down crosses real quick.
Lisa, what do you give this movie?
Wow. Okay, so maybe I'm being too generous. I was going to give it a 4 out of 10 giant wooden crosses. A lot of it is I did like the acting and I did really like Frenchie. I think James Wan branching out to direct Aquaman, he's like, oh, we could bring some levity into the Wonderverse. So it was weird to have it in there when all of his other horror movies have been so serious, but as an unsuspecting victim, I appreciated breaking the tension every once in a while. So that was good.
I wonder if James Wan's going to get that Marvel money and just be like, yeah, I'm done with horror.
And I'm done.
Well, unfortunately, he's only getting DC money, so probably not.
Oh,
yet.
DC. Yeah. No, he'll be back. He'll be back. Thank you. Oh, Jesus. That's how late it is. Nate, what do you give this?
So if Jason Momoa was in this movie, I would give it a higher score. I think for sure.
Well, we're all well aware of your man crush on Jason Momoa.
What if he was the priest? Think about this. That would have been awesome.
Oh, that would have been fantastic.
He would have punched like through the dirt and just got out without her help. When he got big.
Been great.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm gonna go because of Frenchie, because of the main actress. She was pretty good. There was some funniness. That gets me up to a 3 out of 10 Saved by the Bells.
I like it. Yep. All right. Yeah.
Can I say one last thing?
Of course.
All I can think now, when they kept showing the nun coming towards her, but she's not walking, she's going smooth, I know she's on a treadmill because that's how they do that effect. I wanted the nun so bad to break out into an okay go dance. That would have been fantastic.
Yeah, okay go should have done the soundtrack to this.
Right? Oh, that would have been awesome.
Every time they're breaking up like Scooby-Doo bullshit, it's just, oh, here we go again. And it's just a montage of them just like going through all the different corridors and entering one door, coming out another.
Yeah, like Benny Hill. Oh, here we pray again. Is that if that's you can God?
Perfect. I love it.
Oh Christ!
Give me some money to direct the next movie, James Wan. Come on.
There you go. We've got ideas, James. Hook us up. That's gonna wrap it up for this week's episode. Nate, where can they find us?
Yeah, if you go see The Nun in theaters, tweet us at TX Massacre. Let us know what you thought. Check us out on Instagram at Texas Podcast Massacre. You can email us at texaspodcastmassacre@gmail.com. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, on all your podcast platforms.
That's right. Well, yeah, Tom, thanks so much. I can't wait to see what movie you'll join us in 10 years when you go back to the theater.
Lord's work. Oh.
The track record would indicate it's probably going to be a bad one. So, yeah sorry about that.
This is penance for Tom's other life that you don't know about.
Apparently, yeah. Tom in a previous life was the Duke that summoned Valak, and that's why he has to.
I'm in the murder basement, so yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, cool. Right. All right. Well, y'all, Nate, be safe back from your on location trip.
I feel like your assignment.
Yeah. Well, again, that's going to wrap it up here from all of us here at Texas Podcast Massacre. Thank you so much for tuning in, and just keep telling yourself it's only a movie. Good night.